Taxes are always a top 3 concern for small businesses. Regulatory concerns, taxes, and of course the rising cost of healthcare. All of the businesses I talk to, and I'm curious to hear from our roundtable, they want a more simplified tax code, and many of them that I spoke to liked the idea of a Donald Trump administration for that very reason.
Raveen, you are looking forward to some sort of tax relief, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, any entrepreneur, when it comes to lessening taxes or regulation, you have to be bullish about that for sure.
In terms, are you afraid, though, because you do have operations in China and India, I'm not sure if you have those operations to sell products within those regions, or if you bring the products back, are you afraid of some sort of border adjustment tax, for instance, on imported goods?
Yeah, I mean, I have global operations because we supply to most of the large American cookware and bakeware companies, and they source their stuff from overseas. My number one concern with the Trump administration certainly is if he effectuates some of the extreme rhetoric that he discussed with the trade war. I think that would be an economic catastrophe. But I'm cautiously optimistic that he's realizing that, you campaign in poetry, but you govern in prose. And I think he's going to normalize some of that rhetoric.
Ryan, what are you seeing in 2017? Do you think it's going to be a better environment for your business specifically? Because you've got, the great things like simplified taxes, but also the repeal of Obamacare, which could really impact your business.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We're going to have a Republican-led government for the first time since under President George W. Bush in 2003. And it's going to be interesting for me because during that period, the Small Business Administration only gave out big business loans at the time. If you think about it, there was a significant decrease in loans under $100,000, where we had an increase in loans over $1 million. So I'm looking at it from the standpoint of we got to help Main Street and not just big business.
How are you feeling just in terms of business growth and sales projections over the next couple of years? Because that's one of the things that I saw. The NFIB's post-election optimism sentiment index really soared on expectations of a better economy and better business and sales conditions. How do you feel about that, and do you think that'll be something we see under a Trump administration?
We won't know for some time now because the rhetoric hasn't met actual policy yet. But I'm optimistic. The ACA, for example, looks like it's going to stay the same way. The revenue is going to be there for us in our individual business because we're talking about people being able to keep the pre-existing conditions policy. You're looking at 26-year-olds being able to stay on their parents' insurance. And he's not going to kick off 20 million people off of their health insurance. So we're excited about that, and we're hoping that the name may change from the ACA, but the purpose and bones of it may stay the same.
Raveen, I'm curious, how are you feeling about 2017 now versus a month and a half ago, before the elections?
I'm feeling pretty good. We're just finishing up our best year ever here for GMM in 2016, so that's great. We're seeing a slight slowdown here at the end of Q4, so I don't think that's representative of something recessionary, but animal spirits are back, as you can see with what's happened with the market. The market likes President-elect Trump. We're actually looking for acquisitions in 2017, so in that sense, like I said before, you lower taxes and regulations, you're going to release the bulls. And I do think actually that, from a trade perspective, my big worry, GMM was actually acquired 10 days after the election by a $7 billion Japanese conglomerate. And I think that tells me that even the rest of the world that might be worried about a President Trump, they see that he's actually moderating those opinions, because I don't think my deal would have gone through had people really been worried that they were going to shut down trade.